Hey, what's up, guys?
It's Supergirl.
And JV.
Okay, it's Jane. But, you know, one of those days.
Yeah, you gotta get into character. We're doing a Screw Attack Hulk versus Doomsday.
Yeah.
I love Screw Attack. These guys do like superhero mashups, like Marvel versus DC usually, or just like whatever characters. And they do like months of research about all the comics, like their stats, how much they can lift, and then they get
and their potential outcome, right?
Yeah.
And I figured maybe it's Hulk versus Doomsday, and then winner versus Supergirl, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. I just think, Supergirl will have some trouble.
Not this Supergirl.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so we're gonna get into this right now.
Who do you think is gonna win? I think Hulk, because I love Hulk. His power's unlimited, it can never end, so you can't beat that.
Now I'm supposed to bet against that.
Or you can
unlimited power that never ends.
Well, Doomsday killed Superman, so.
Killed my cousin?
Yeah, well, he put him in like a coma.
He put my cousin in a coma. Obviously, I have to go for Hulk.
We're gonna do Hulk fans.
Alright, let's go. Death battle! I scared you? I thought you jumped.
Adulterated rage. Usually, in a stressful situation, you'd want to avoid this sort of emotion in order to keep yourself focused.
Unless you're a giant rampaging pile of muscles, like these two.
Dr. Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk.
And Doomsday, the monster who killed Superman. He's whizzing on boosting.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
guy.
skills to find out who would win a death battle.
As a kid, I was terrified.
Within each of us, oft times, there dwells a mighty and raging fury. And this suits no one better than the mild-mannered scientist, Bruce Banner.
Cause when Bruce gets angry, oh boy, you wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Dr. Robert Bruce Banner may have grown up with few friends, but what he
8'8"
liked popularity, he
How
made
many?
up tenfold.
2,400 pounds.
However, in spite of his gifts, it was never enough to earn the respect and love of his father.
Partly because Bruce was so smart that his alcoholic dad literally thought he was a monster.
Always alcoholic
dad.
dad.
Pretty thoroughly.
Oh!
God damn!
Oh.
How much distance do you think you got there, Wiz?
9, 10 feet.
Man, with an arm like that, he could really go places.
Little kid.
Like
Just
the
a
nut house
baby.
after he murdered his wife
Oh,
in
no.
front of Bruce.
Oh.
Aw.
Understandably traumatized,
Every
Bruce coped by
superhero's
creating an
traumatized.
imaginary friend to talk to.
You know, I had an imaginary friend once.
You did? What
Even
was
the
his
Flash's
name?
mom was
Dad.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, Bruce's friend served as an emotional outlet all the way through his college graduation. However, his advice to Bruce was oftentimes destructive.
Shoot.
So when the U.S. military recruited Bruce to make weapons, it was actually kind of fitting.
Bruce was tasked with developing a gamma bomb, which would use gamma radiation to target enemy weapons and buildings without involving bombs. At least
I like
that's
the
what
little
Bruce was
warning.
Surprise, surprise! Gamma radiation is actually pretty fucking harmful. And when it came time to test the bomb and some dumb kid decided to play his harmonica right in the test zone, Bruce asked his assistant to stop the countdown and dashed off to save him. But turns out his assistant was a Russian spy who set off the bomb anyway.
On that strange day, Bruce's imaginary friend became a real-life terror as he transformed into the Incredible Hulk.
He could have one heck of a track career, man.
Yes,
Hammer
apparently. Ever since, whenever he's angry, Bruce's body and mind morphs into that of the
green guy
Hulk's,
right now.
granting him unmeasurable power.
While he loses Bruce's
Yelling at
brain
the
power,
thunder.
the Hulk is ridiculously strong. He can leap great distances, survive the harshest environments, and most importantly, smash the crap out of everything with his bare fists.
He also knows a technique known as the thunderclap, which creates a shockwave that can deafen foes, level forests, and push back explosions.
As if he needed anything more than that, the Hulk has a healing factor that gives Wolverines a run for his money.
You're healing. You should be dead.
He's super strong and super hard to kill. What's not to like?
Well, there's one little detail that kind of ruins the whole experience. Bruce can't really control the Hulk. In fact, the Hulk is his own being, and they both hate each other, vying for dominance over Bruce's body. And yet, Bruce and the Hulk are often reminded how much they depend on each other for survival.
Bruce figured if he was stuck with this big green Goliath forever, he might as well try using it for good, eventually joining the Avengers, Defenders, the Fantastic Four, and even the Illuminati.
Hulk has held up a 150 billion ton mountain, escaped Earth's gravitational pull with a single jump.
And one time when a planet's tectonic plates started splitting apart, threatening to shatter the whole world, he just jumped right in there and pulled the planet back together.
Oh my god.
The estimated average mass of a single lithosphere plate is
They do
nearly
the math.
35 quintillion tons. Hulk pulled two of these together with nothing but his bare hands.
45 quadrillion tons.
And
he just holds it?
As fast as a fighter jet, which puts him over Mach 5 speeds
run
at least. And he
Mach
can always go
5.
faster
Oh my
if
God.
he's pissed off enough.
This is because the savage Hulk's strength is
Super
directly
speed.
related to his anger. The angrier he gets, the more powerful he becomes. In theory, this means his maximum level of strength is potentially infinite. And when he taps into that immeasurable rage to the fullest, he truly lives up to his name of World Breaker.
Wow.
Bigger, stronger, and oozing with gamma radiation, the World Breaker Hulk is so powerful, with a single stump he created earthquakes felt hundreds of miles away. In his battle with Sentry, basically Marvel Superman, they almost destroyed New York. And when battling another World Breaker Hulk, a single collision between them obliterated an entire planet.
Even the mutant Darwin's power, which specifically adapts to counter any enemy, decided that the best defense against the Hulk was to be somewhere else.
Jesus.
Holy hell!
The best defense against the Hulk.
I gotta get out
Guys,
of
let's
here.
just go.
Obviously,
Oh!
typically Bruce does his best to contain and limit the Hulk's power. In fact, World Breaker Hulk is a result of Bruce relinquishing that control entirely. In terms of combat, usually only cosmic beings like Silver Surfer or Zeus have the might to challenge the Hulk.
Oh yeah, like that one time Zeus hit him so hard it burned out his healing factor.
But even
Oh,
gods
dang.
sometimes have to learn the
Zeus.
hard way. You do not mess with the Incredible Hulk.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Oops. Oh! Oh!
Puny god.
Holy crap. The
What if
movie
all
could have
we
been
ever
over
known
so
was
fast.
hatred and aggression, violence and pain. This life is reality for
YouTube comments, Doomsday, yeah, Doomsday guy.
thousands of years ago on an uninhabitable prehistoric planet which was one day
8'10".
known
This
as
dude's just taller.
a scientist
Nine-
named
But only
Bertrand
914
engineered
pounds, yeah.
the ultimate life form.
Yep, it's another one of those stories, but with one hell of a twist.
See, at this time, Krypton was a harsh wasteland filled with nothing but sharp rocks, poisonous air, and violent predators.
Bertrand
after I
believed
left.
that if he could create something that could live through that, they could survive just about anywhere.
To realize this theory, Bertrand acquired an infant from somewhere, and through a rapidly accelerated evolution process, attempted to transform him into his dream creation.
Oh, don't try to dance around it, Wiz. Bertrand put that little sucker into a baby cannon, blasted him into the wild to get murdered by any number of things, sucked up what was left of him with a vacuum cleaner, and just cloned a new one out of the
Wow.
mess to do it all over again.
And kept doing it, dude.
Yeah, the idea being each new clone would be stronger than the one before, thus covering millions of years of evolution in just a few decades.
That doesn't sound like science.
No, it doesn't. So after 30 straight years of baby murder, one of the clones finally survived the test. Amazed by his own success, Bertrand named this baby the Ultimate.
The ultimate baby.
But to the rest of the universe, he was their Doomsday.
See, Wiz, reloading as it is, passing my baby cannon
Kills
was a good
everything.
idea.
Oh, he
Successful
got
as
the
Bertrand's experiment
antlers!
was, it was anything but a good idea. Turns out, while Doomsday usually appears to be a mindless beast, he remembered every single time Bertrand had him killed.
Wow.
As a result,
Goodness.
Doomsday had been unintentionally programmed at a genetic level to hate everything that lives.
Bummer. Needless to say, Bertrand was pretty screwed.
This guy
Because
messed
even
him
with
up.
30 years of development, Bertrand had never
Get
quite
that
figured out what to
young
do if his
bugger.
experiment actually worked. Because Bertrand is the worst.
He can't do what he set out to do. He made an 8'10" monster that doesn't need to eat, breathe, or have internal organs to live. It just kills and kills and
Ripped off that guy's head?
Doomsday possesses enormous strength, incredible
Oh my
durability, and
God.
poisonous spikes which can extend. But due to Bertrand's experiments, Doomsday's greatest power of all is his ability to adapt to his opponent's powers.
Oh yeah.
After taking his
Oh, he
sweet
can
revenge,
steal their powers?
Doomsday
He
stowed away
adapts.
on a supply ship and ravaged dozens of planets until he finally found himself on Earth.
On that day, Doomsday did the unthinkable. On that day, Doomsday killed Superman.
That was huge.
Well, kind of. He actually put him into a super sleep. After several days, he kind of woke up more powerful.
Yeah. At least Scoops took Doomsday down with him. Or maybe not. Turns out, whenever Doomsday dies, he just comes back to life, forever
Stronger.
immune to whatever killed him in the first place.
So it's better not to kill him.
Can't beat me the same way twice.
He's been punched to death by Superman, blasted apart by the Radiant's energy, brutally ripped in half, incinerated by Imperiex, and just curb stomped by a
There's
Kryptonian
me!
lord.
Yeah.
Practically invulnerable at this point, Doomsday's taken on Darkseid, tanking his Omega Beams and beating him to near death. He single-handedly defeated most of the Justice League and took on an energy attack that wiped out a fifth of a planet.
He's punched through the Phantom Zone, battled super beings called Gogs for a century, and even broken Wonder Woman's arms. Arms strong enough to help pull the Earth.
And during his rematch with the Man of Steel, after witnessing Doomsday survive an explosion equivalent to 1 million nukes, Superman realized that the only way to stop him was to send him to the end of time.
At his most powerful, Doomsday's mere presence can boil the ocean and disintegrate buildings.
What?
A casual stroll across Africa made wildebeest an endangered species just by walking around. But what he's got in strength, he really lacks in brains.
Not that he's dumb, he just literally lacks a brain. More often than not, Doomsday is little more than a one-track mind-killing machine. This makes his intentions predictable, and a clever opponent could use this to, say, lead him into a trap. And should that foe come up with a new way to hurt Doomsday, he could be killed.
Still, that's gonna be pretty goddamn hard to do.
Because then he'll just come back.
Yeah.
Please. And that doesn't crush Superman's skull?
Oh, man.
Alright, the combatants are
I
set
don't know.
outside this
I
debate
know.
once
Oh,
and
I
for all.
want to win.
But first, Wiz won't stop talking about this thing, so he wants to tell you about it.
Okay, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Doomsday.
That's Doomsday right there. Oh, look at this version of Doomsday. He's crushing his head again?
Oh.
Disgusting.
Oh, get him.
Come on, help.
Mess him up.
Avengers tank.
Hulk smash ugly cycles.
Come on, help.
Let's go hard. Oh
Oh yeah, I remember. So much destruction. This could just go on forever.
no. Yeah.
How are you doing? We cut through the whole building!
Come on.
Ultimate destruction.
Come on. We're going back here.
Who's gonna get it?
Hulk, man.
And what does it even matter if Hulk wins? Because then Doomsday is just gonna come back.
Hulk hates spiky beard.
What the heck? Oh no. That wouldn't stop the Hulk, would it?
No. Make him angrier.
His face is bleeding.
You break buildings good, but Hulk break walls.
World Breaker Hulk, here we go.
What's this?
World Breaker Hulk, like the most powerful version. This is when you see like everyone.
Huge.
Oh, he just healed up? Damn it.
Remember, he's a healer.
Hulk is a
Hulk
healer.
needs to
Pull Hulk out.
Please, pull it out of there.
No, Hulk, pull us out.
Oh my gosh. I think he's done it. He's gonna put one through his head now.
No!
Yeah. It's over. No. I knew it. Gross. Gross.
He can heal.
I can't believe Doomsday won.
Oh, man. Doomsday
That
won.
was beautiful.
With the Hulk's immeasurable power and Doomsday's
Yeah, I know it's a
impossible
cartoon,
immortality,
but that
this
made me
truly felt like a
nauseous.
fight between an unstoppable force and an
That was rough.
immovable
I took his head
object.
off.
Hulk may have had the advantage in raw strength, at least at his full potential, but Doomsday could certainly hold his ground.
Okay, what's up?
His victories against the likes of Superman and Darkseid prove he can take a hit from someone strong enough to break planets.
And by experience, Doomsday had the speed advantage. He regularly fights foes with light speed capabilities, while that kind of speed is an extreme rarity in the Marvel Universe. In fact, the only foe that fast who Hulk's ever seemed to keep pace with in a one-on-one match was Sentry, and that was when he was at his most powerful stage, World Breaker Hulk.
So overall, Hulk had strength and Doomsday had speed, but neither completely outclassed the other. At first glance, this one looked like it could go either way.
Which means
Yeah.
the devil's in the very tiny details.
So why couldn't the Hulk's infinite strength just keep rising and eventually overwhelm Doomsday?
Well, even assuming Hulk's strength was infinite, his healing factor was not. Don't get me wrong, it can only be overtaxed by hits from absurdly powerful beings such as Zeus or Sentry, whom Doomsday certainly compares.
Naturally, Doomsday's crazy strength and speed started wearing that healing factor down.
Here's where it gets a bit tricky. The Hulk may look like a giant green monster, but he's still technically human, and his power directly correlates with his anger. A human being's anger stems from an increase in hormones and adrenaline in the body. However, the brain can only produce these chemicals at such a rate for a limited time, eventually giving up and turning apathetic. Therefore, Hulk's limitless power could never have existed without his healing factor. It's the key. It allowed his body to continue producing hormones and adrenaline far beyond the norm, theoretically an endless supply, thus increasing his superhuman power to an immeasurable degree. So, Doomsday overtaxing his healing factor
can't
meant
watch that
Hulk could
part
no
again.
longer maintain his increasing rage and Hulk form.
And if you're still skeptical, that's why there's a bunch of times in
yeah.
comics when a huge impact forced the Hulk to turn back into Bruce Banner, including that battle between Worldbreaker Hulk and Sentry. With his healing power beaten down, he literally couldn't keep himself angry enough to stay in Hulk mode.
I love science, but there's still one more thing. Thanks to his battles with Superman and other Kryptonians, Doomsday has evolved to a point where it's basically impossible to kill him with brute force
It's
alone.
my fault.
The Hulk couldn't have killed him by just getting angry enough to punch harder than Doomsday ever felt.
Precisely. Here's the proof. Superman and Doomsday eventually had a rematch, in which Superman was much more powerful than their first battle. As we discussed before, Superman's power is also potentially limitless by way of continually absorbing solar energy, and at this point in his story, he'd begun to discover that.
But try as he might, despite his increased power, Supes couldn't kill Doomsday with blunt force a second time.
Ultimately, Doomsday's immunity to being ripped, impaled, incinerated, blasted with energy, and being beaten by blunt force from both focused and multiple sources means Hulk just didn't have the options available to take Doomsday out before his healing factor was overtaxed.
On this day, Hulk met his doom. Doomsday.
I guess that makes sense.
The winner is Doomsday.
Well,
Damn it.
that makes me sad.
Hulk lost.
Doomsday is like the worst.
Yeah.
He's just a killing machine. Took off the Hulk's head, which was gross. And he was piercing him all through his body to like cause him pain. It's like he wants to inflict pain before he murders you.
Yeah.
Like, that's his thing.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to tax his healing factor. Whatever.
I'm
He's
pretty
the worst.
sad.
Yeah, that's... Damn it, I was...
But
I was
the
hoping-
explanation totally made sense.
Yeah.
It did.
People have been asking for Hulk for like years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for them
and
to do
then
Hulk.
they finally did it.
They wanted Hulk versus Superman.
Yeah, because
though.
remember we did Hulk versus Wolverine. Do you remember we watched that one?
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah, and that one was pretty good, but that one was like,
Brutal, man.
it was brutal, but it was good to see.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah.
They finally did a Hulk. I want him, but Hulk versus Superman,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Hulk versus Supergirl.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, that's it.
Alright guys, thanks so much for joining us. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, if
great.
you have any suggestions for us, please leave them down below.
And I will leave the link to the
Oh,
video.
yeah, to the video down
yeah,
below.
watch all their stuff. It's great.
Yeah, they always have this method of coming up with who would actually possibly win if a real fight did happen, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they cross over DC and Marvel, like there's no limits.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So make sure you check it out. All right,
All right,
guys. That's it for us. We're out of here.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.